Can you see the fusion here? Right? So, let's say this is two haploid hyphae coming close to each other and fusing. But what fuses is only the cytoplasm, not the nuclei. Right, please? तो फाइकोमाइसीट्स में दोनों न्यूक्लियस का फ्यूजन हो जाएगा, लेकिन एस्को और बसीडियो में नहीं होगा. प्लीज पहले ध्यान से सुन लो, फिर बाद में लिखना. तो यहां पर सिर्फ फ्यूजन किसका हो रहा है? साइटोप्लाज्म का फ्यूजन हो रहा है. अब प्लीज, फाइकोमाइसीट्स जो है ना, वो थोड़ा सा प्रिमिटिव फंगस है. तो मेटाफोरिकली ना, we call this as algal fungi, just to denote that वो पीछे वाला फंगस, right? इसका जो फ्रूटिंग बॉडी है ना, इट इज अ सैक लाइक स्ट्रक्चर, इसलिए इसको we say it is a sac fungi. This is called as club fungi. और deuteromycetes जो है ना, we know only the asexual part, we don't know the sexual part. So all those not yet properly defined fungi are put in deutero. So we call them as imperfect fungi. So phycomycetes में the fusion directly occurs, but asco and basidio में fusion नहीं होता है. Right? Fusion के पहले किसका fusion होगा? सिर्फ और सिर्फ साइटोप्लाज्म का होगा. तो साइटोप्लाज्म का जब फ्यूजन होगा, we say this step is called as plasmogamy. Gamy is fusion. Gamy means coming together, fusion. Right? So it is only the fusion of the cytoplasm and not the nuclei. So following plasmogamy, do we have a structure that has got two nuclei? Do we have a structure which has got two nuclei? So this two nuclei वाला structure, क्या बोलेंगे इसको? Dikaryon or a dikaryotic mycelium now. What is karyon? Nucleus. Prokaryotic. Karyon का मतलब क्या होता है? Nucleus. तो क्या यहाँ पे दो न्यूक्लिया है अपने पास? तो दो न्यूक्लिया, तो उसको स्ट्रक्चर को क्या बोलेंगे हम लोग? It's a dikaryotic structure. So do we have a dikaryo phase now? Now, what will happen after this is, the two nuclei are going to fuse. So this step will be called now as karyogamy. Karyogamy. So what will be the result of karyogamy? Will it result in formation of a diploid nucleus now? It will result in the formation of a diploid nucleus. Now once the diploid stage is achieved, can it undergo meiosis and result in formation of haploid spores? So three steps in the sexual cycle of fungus is plasmogamy, karyogamy, meiosis. In this order. In the exam, you will be asked the order in which the events are occurring. So what is the order? Plasmogamy, karyogamy, meiosis.
will happen only in that
asco and basidium. पढ़ते हैं चलो. The sexual cycle involves the following three steps: plasmogamy, karyogamy, meiosis. When a fungus reproduces sexually, two haploid hyphae of the compatible mating types come together and fuse. In some of the fungi, please pay attention, In some of the fungi, the fusion of two haploid cells immediately results in diploid cells. ये किसमें होगा? फाइको में होगा. लेकिन क्या लिखा है देखो, however in some other fungi, ब्रैकेट में क्या मेंशन किया है? एस्को एंड बसीडियो. ड्यूटेरो में तो वैसे भी सेक्सुअल साइकिल अवेलेबल नहीं है, इसलिए वो इम्परफेक्ट है ना. तो एस्को और बसीडियो को छोड़ दिया तो क्या बचता है? सिर्फ फाइको. तो पहला सेंटेंस किसको रेफर कर रहा है? ये सम फंगाई किसको रेफर कर रहा है? फाइको को रेफर कर रहा है. तो फाइको में ये दोनों इमीडिएटली फ्यूज हो जाएंगे, लेकिन एस्को और बसीडियो में आपको डाइकैरियोटिक फेज मिलेगा. सो डाइकैरियोटिक फेज किसमें अवेलेबल नहीं होगा? फाइको में. हाँ, ड्यूटेरो में तो सेक्सुअल साइकिल ही अवेलेबल है. ठीक है. So in some fungi like Asco and Basidio, an intervening dikaryotic stage occurs. Such a condition is dikaryon and the phase is called dikaryophase. Later the parental nuclei fuse and the cells become diploid, and these fungi form fruiting bodies in which reduction division occurs. Reduction division, meiosis, leading to formation of haploid spores. Are the parental, these are parental nuclei, na? So parental nuclei will fuse, the cell will become diploid, and this will now form fruiting bodies.
4N4.
No, 2N, na? Meiosis, 4N. Each of them will form 4 spores which are going to be haploid. 4N mat bolo, right na? N spores which are in number, they are 4. Now classification, the morphology of mycelium, criteria number 1, mode of spore formation, criteria number 2, and fruiting body, criteria number 3. 3 criteria are used for classifying kingdom fungi. Just read the statement a little carefully. These 3 criteria form the basis for division of the kingdom into various classes. कौन सा स्टेप मिस किया उन्होंने? डिवीजन वाला स्टेप मिस किया. किंगडम का क्लासिफिकेशन शुड बी इन डिविजन. आई होप यू रिमेंबर ना, ओनली इन एनिमल्स वी यूज किंगडम के बाद फाइलम, otherwise we use the term division. What do you think they are saying? Kingdom into various classes. It should have been kingdom into various divisions, divisions into various classes. So division wala step is not there for us. Directly class wala step is there for us. So the moment I say class Phycomycetes, what is class? Category. What is Phycomycetes? Taxa. I hope you realize why I introduced the taxa and category wala concept right at the start of planting. Right? Otherwise these all terms na would be a little alien to us right now. ये सब समझ में नहीं आता अपने. Phycomycetes. Sorry. Class Phycomycetes. साथ में बोला है ना आपने बताओ. Members of Phycomycetes are found in aquatic habitats, on decaying wood, in moist, damp places such as obligate parasites on plants. The mycelium is aseptate and cenocytic. I told you, cenocytic सिर्फ और सिर्फ कहाँ मिलेगा आपको? फाइको में मिलेगा. बाकी सब जगह पे जो है वो सेप्टेट मिलेगा. Asexual reproduction takes place by zoospores, motile, or aplanospores, which are non-motile. These spores are endogenously produced in the sporangia. 1 minute, let me go back to this diagram. Can you see यहाँ पर meiosis हो रहा है? यहाँ पर spore, ये जो है ना, इसको diagram यहाँ पे enlarge किया है. Can you see this is the main mycelium? ये basidium है. And can you see spore formation? Is the spore formation outside the body? So this is exogenous. यही spore formation अंदर होता तो क्या बोलते हैं? Endogenous. So what was the category? Mode of spore formation. Endogenous है या exogenous है? ठीक है? So यहाँ पर the spores are endogenously produced inside the sporangia. A zygospore. So obviously the asexual reproduction is talked about here. Zygospore is formed by fusion of two gametes. So यहाँ पे sexual reproduction. The gametes can either be iso, aniso or oogamous, like what we found in algae. Common examples are mucor, rhizopus. This is the bread mold that we spoke about. And albugo, obviously the parasitic fungi on mustard. Ascomycetes, commonly known as sac fungi. Ascomycetes are mostly multicellular, but with the exception of yeast. Yeast we mentioned was unicellular. What is the name of the yeast that we mentioned? Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Look at this diagram of penicillium. This is penicillium diagram. All NCERT diagrams, please. Look at the diagram of penicillium. Can you see this is the mycelium? And can you see formation is exogenous यहाँ पर बाहर है. These are saprophytic decomposers, parasitic or coprophilous, growing on dung. Mycelium is branched and septate. Asexual spores are conidia. Right now we said na, asexual spores in fungi are conidia, sporangiospores or zoospores. Okay, oospores. Zoospores. The asexual spores are conidia produced exogenously on special mycelium called conidiophores. Conidia on germination will produce mycelium. Sexual spores are called ascospores, which are produced endogenously in sac-like asci. Right? The sac-like. That's why they're called as sac fungi. The Ascomyces starting is called as sac fungus. These asci are arranged in different types of fruiting bodies called ascocarps. The term carp means fruit. याद है? Parthenocarpy. Formation of fruit without fertilization. So carp का मतलब होता है fruit. So यहाँ पर ascocarps. Some examples are aspergillus. Right now, aspergillus is Aspergillus niger, used for making acids. Claviceps pura. It's Claviceps purpura. It's called as ergot fungus. Claviceps is called ergot fungus. Heard of something by the name of LSD?
Yes.
Why the laugh, Kabir? No, you know what is LSD. What is LSD, Kabir? Yes, very good. Right now, I saw the smirk and laugh on your face. ये तो मुझे मालूम है. That type of a laugh. Okay. LSD is a drug. वो वाला केमिस्ट वाला ड्रग नहीं है. पता ना केमिस्ट की दुकान पे केमिस्ट एंड ड्रगिस्ट. वो वाला ड्रग नहीं, वो वाला ड्रग. इट्स अ hallucinogen. It consumption leads to hallucinations. Okay, so it's all basically acting on central nervous system. So it is extracted from this fungus, Claviceps. It's called ergot fungus बोलते हैं इसको. Okay. So if you consume this drug and sit in the class, instead of me, you'll see शायद डायनासोर पढ़ा रहा है, कोई hallucination नहीं सब. हाँ? है कि नहीं? जो 25 मिलीग्राम ग्राम लगता है. ओके. Neurospora is Neurospora crassi. Neurospora crassi. That is used extensively in biochemical and genetic work, mentioned below. And members like morels and truffles are edible. They are considered delicacies, right? ना ये जितने भी stylishly sounding होते हैं ना, ये सब बहुत महंगे होते हैं. They are very expensive, right? ना morels and truffles and all that. Yes, लोग खाते हैं इसको. टेंशन मत ले. Mushrooms भी तो है ना, edible mushrooms also. बड़ा friend. Good source of protein. When you are consuming mushroom का topping pizza with हमें कितना मिलता है? Right now, mushroom खाते वक्त ना, you should never have the thought I'm consuming a fungus, please. With that thought, you'll never do it. Yes. The third one, class Basidiomycetes, commonly form of Basidiomycetes are mushrooms, bracket fungi or puffballs. What is it called as club fungi? It's called as club fungi. Growing in soil, on logs, tree stumps and in living plant bodies as parasites. Rust and smut. Rust, wheat rust, Puccinia. Starting में आया wheat rust causing Puccinia. So the disease is rust. Mycelium is again branched and septate. I mentioned the only aseptate mycelium belongs to Phycomycetes. Asexual spores are generally not found. Basidiomycetes में asexual spores not found, but vegetative reproduction में fragmentation is common. Sex organs are absent. ये देखो Basidiomycetes का पूरा sexual cycle हमने कर लिया ना? कौन से 3 steps है उसके अंदर? Plasmogamy, karyogamy, meiosis. So sex organs are absent, but plasmogamy is brought about by fusion of vegetative cells. The resulting structure is dikaryotic. What is a dikaryotic structure? A structure with 2 haploid nuclei, parental nuclei is present. Karyogamy meiosis takes place in Basidium, producing 4 basidiospores. The basidiospores are exogenously produced. Did we see that in the diagram? Exogenously produced. The basidia are arranged in fruiting bodies called as basidiocarps. And some common members are agaricus, which is mushroom. Agaricus bisporus is the most common mushroom. We have Eustylago, which is smut, and Puccinia, which is the rust fungus. Right? We have seen which disease? Wheat rust. Wheat rust. Yes, at the last bench, why do we have a single book, please? We have 2 books now? Pakka? Okay, great.
Not exactly क्या है?
हाँ?
Not exactly क्या है?
Smart exactly क्या होता है? बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. Yeah, smart. White structure. उसको smart बोलते हैं. Right? ये wheat rust है, Puccinia, वो mushroom है. हाँ? Okay. Lastly, we have Deuteromycetes, commonly known as imperfect fungi. Why? Only the sexual cycle, only the asexual cycle. When sexual forms of these fungi were discovered, they were moved into classes they rightly belong to. Right? It is also possible that asexual and vegetative have given one name, sexual stage has given another name. Later, when linkages were established, fungi were correctly identified and moved through Deuteromycetes, out of Deuteromycetes. Once the perfect sexual stages of Deuteromycetes were discovered, they were often moved to either Asco or Basidio. So, till the cycle of fungus is not established properly, it is kept under Deutero. और Deutero के बाद उसको move कर देंगे. The Deuteromycetes reproduce only by asexual spores known as Conidia. So where did you find Conidia? Conidia was in Asco and Deutero. Basidio में तो asexual था ही नहीं. Mycelium is septate and branched. Some members are saprophytes or parasites, while many of them are decomposers of litter, help in mineral cycling. Some examples are Alternaria, Coletotrichum and Trichoderma. These are examples of deuteromycetes. ठीक है ना? So what are the four groups, four classes under fungi? Class Phycomycetes, class Ascomycetes, class Basidiomycetes and class Deuteromycetes. ठीक है? Now if you just move to the last page of this chapter, I have given a small table there. Small table. अरे एक तो तुम लोग को सारा इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टमैटिकली लिख के देना और ये बोलती है ऐसा क्यों करते, फाड़ वहां से। जितना भी चारों ग्रुप्स में पढ़ा है वो पूरा कंपैरेटिवली करके लिख के दिया आपको, ऐसा क्यों करते हो। तूने वो टेबल यूज किया ना, फिर तेरे को पाप लगेगा। एक तो टेबल यूज करने के ऊपर से सुनाने का भी दो बात। अभी नहीं करूंगा मैं, बुरा लगा मेरे को।
तो मुझे पूछना था कि ड्यूटेरोमाइसिस में अगर इस सेक्शन में प्रोडक्ट होगा तो वो एक्सोजेनेटिक सोर्स होगा।
हाँ,
एक्सोजेनेटिक सोर्स
कहाँ पर? ड्यूटेरो में।
इस सेक्शन में क्या होगा?
तो बॉडी के बाहर हो मतलब एक्सोजेनस हो गया ना।
तो मैं पूछ रहा हूँ
हाँ, किंगडम प्लांटे मेरे को नहीं करना है अभी, राइट ना। किंगडम प्लांटे ने बहुत ट्रॉमा दिया है। देखो, सानवी यूज द वर्ड ट्रॉमा, राइट ना, राइट। आई कैन यूज अ मोर बेटर वर्ड, इट हैज लेफ्ट एन इमोशनल स्कार। कैन यूज दैट वर्ड, ओके।
इधर भी 25 to 30 मिलीग्राम,
इधर भी वो एक्सक्रीशन में था।
ठीक है।
Kingdom Plantae includes all eukaryotic chlorophyll containing organisms commonly called plants. A few members are partially heterotrophic such as insectivorous plants or parasites. देखो ये एक नया पॉइंट है, ये Kingdom Plantae में पॉइंट नहीं किया हम लोग ने। Bladderwort and Venus flytrap are examples of insectivorous plants. Cuscuta is example for parasite. Cuscuta is a parasitic plant. It's a total parasite, not a partial. It's a total parasite. That means it does not have leaf of its own, it does not have roots of its own, it will depend on the host for nutrition. ये वाला जो पॉइंट है ना, partially heterotrophic और insectivorous वाला पॉइंट, we use this point in the chapter of ecology. Ecology में we will be learning the food pyramid. Right now the pyramids we do, right? The producers, primary consumers, food chain करते हैं ना हम लोग। तो उसमें we say a few organisms can come at more than one levels. We are omnivorous, na? So we can be at the level of primary consumer also and secondary consumer also. Similarly, insectivorous plant also can come at the two levels. It is itself a producer also and it's a secondary consumer also. वो insect को खा रहा है, वो insect जो plant consume करता है, मतलब ये भी दो लेवल पे आ सकता है। And we इसको हम लोग वहां यूज करते हैं, right? So just bear in mind. So यहाँ पर एक छोटा सा पॉइंट, it is a producer as well as a secondary consumer. I am assuming everybody knows what's a Venus flytrap, right? नहीं है तो हाथ डाल के देख लो क्या होता है। Plants have a eukaryotic structure with prominent chloroplast, cell wall mainly made up of cellulose. The life cycle of plants has two distinct phases, the diploid sporophyte and the haploid gametophyte that alternate with each other. Old news. The length of the haploid and the diploid phase and whether these phases are free living or dependent on others will vary amongst different groups in plants. Right? Now just imagine, if we had done this unit according to its sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, सर फोड़ देते ये स्टेटमेंट समझ में नहीं आता। Now since you done plantae, this is very very clear and you know what the statement is trying to say, right? So algae, bryo, pterido, gymno, angium सब में जो है it will differ which group is dominant, which group is recessive. Kingdom Animalia characterized by heterotrophic eukaryotic organisms that are multicellular. Their cells lack cell walls. Directly or indirectly depend on food. Reserve food is glycogen or fat. The mode of nutrition is holozoic. This is again separate point, please. See, if you look at the mode of nutrition, per se we are heterotrophs. We depend on food for others, right? We depend on others for food, isn't it? So we are heterotrophs. But we are neither saprophytes, we are neither parasites. Right now, our mode of nutrition is ingestion. So when the mode of nutrition is ingesting food, we have those 5 steps, na? Ingestion, digestion, assimilation, absorption, assimilation, and then finally ingestion. So usko holozoic mode of nutrition bolte hain. It's a holozoic mode of nutrition. Higher forms of animals show elaborate sensory and neuromotor mechanisms. Most of them are capable of locomotion. Sexual reproduction by copulation of male and female followed by embryological development, which may either be direct or indirect. I hope you remember that, please. क्या? हाँ है ना? क्या हो गया? क्या हो रहा है? Yes. Lastly, we come to those groups which have yet not found any place in the classification. ठीक है? तो यही वो लावारिस लोग हैं, right? Orphans, right? They have not yet found a foster home, anything. Homeless, living on the streets, viruses, viroids, prions, and lichen. Amongst this, the major discussion on virus. Lot of points to be discussed in viruses. Please pay attention. Viruses did not find a place in the classification since they are not considered truly as living. Please, statement ध्यान से देखना. If we understand living as those organisms that have a cell structure, what is our understanding of life? What is the most basic unit of life? Cell. That is the essence that we start our study, isn't it? So if our study is that the basic unit of life is cell, और यहाँ पर cell जैसा कोई structure ही नहीं है, तो उसको हम लोग living में कैसे consider कर सकते हैं? ठीक है? The virus का structure is a coating of protein. और अंदर एक न्यूक्लिक एसिड है. That is the only structure which is found in a virus. It neither has got any kind of nucleus, it does not have a mitochondria, it does not have a Golgi body, no, nothing of that sort. So how do we put it in one sentence? We say it does not have any metabolic machinery of its own. Isn't this cumulatively running our entire metabolism? Each and every organelle has its own function which is contributing to metabolism. So look at viruses do not have any metabolic machinery of their own, right? So outside the cell, on its own, viruses are inert structures, inactive structures. They don't do anything. But once they enter the host cell, it will use the metabolic machinery of the host. It will undergo replication itself and kill the host. So is it completely dependent on the host? So if it is dependent on the host, can we call it as a parasite? Just asking. होस्ट के बाहर इनएक्टिव है, एक्टिविटी किधर है उसका? होस्ट के अंदर. ठीक है? कंपल्सरी. सो कैन आई से इट्स ऑब्लिगेटरी पैरासाइट. ऑब्लिगेटरी मतलब कंपल्सरी, इट कैन नॉट सर्वाइव एनीथिंग एल्स. बट वेयर? इनसाइड द सेल और आउटसाइड द सेल? इनसाइड. सो आई से इट्स एन ऑब्लिगेटरी इंट्रासेल्युलर पैरासाइट. नॉट एन एक्स्ट्रा। पैरासाइट से हम लोग कैसे डिफाइन करते हैं वो एंडो है या एक्टो है? अगर इन द बॉडी है तो एंडो, ऑन द बॉडी है तो एक्टो। सो व्हाट अबाउट दिस? दिस इज ऑलवेज इनसाइड, सो इट्स एन ऑब्लिगेटरी इंट्रासेल्युलर पैरासाइट। कभी समझो वायरसेस क्या होते हैं? ओके, viruses are non-cellular organism. Why are we mentioning it as non-cellular? Because they don't conform, they are not behaving like cell-like structures. Characterized by having an inert crystalline, inactive, outside the living cell. So the NCERT has given two diagrams. One is a very famous TMV, which is tobacco mosaic virus, and the other is a bacteriophage. Bacteriophage is a virus which enters the body of the bacteria. मतलब बैक्टीरिया को इन्फेक्शन देने वाला। So we are not the only ones who can say मेरे को वायरल हो गया है। बैक्टीरिया भी बोलेगा मेरे को वायरल हो गया है। No, can you imagine bacteria itself are microscopic. So can you imagine how small these viruses will be, that they can penetrate the body of the
bacteria.
Once they infect a cell, they take over the machinery of the host. Which machinery I told you? Metabolic machinery of the host. They replicate themselves, killing the host. Right? Sheer ungratefulness. Virus means venom or poisonous fluid, per se, literal meaning. Now, these three gentlemen have done some work on viruses. So they've been mentioned here. Dmitry Ivansky recognized certain microbes as causal organism of the mosaic disease of tobacco. This is talking about TMV now. They were found to be smaller than bacteria because they pass through bacteria-proof filters. Right? If a filter is bacteria-proof, obviously a structure which is smaller than bacteria can easily pass through. Okay. ये because आ गया मतलब this can be assertion reason. We have M.W. Byrinek demonstrating that the extract of the infected plant of tobacco, that means a plant which is infected with TMV, उस plant का extract निकालना and transferring that extract to some other plant, so the infection is now transferring. That means this extract is infectious, so it shows that this virus can spread infection. So the infectious nature of virus was shown by Byrinek. And Stanley in 1935 showed that viruses could be crystallized, and crystals consist largely of proteins. क्या लिखा है देखो, they are inert outside their specific host cell. Viruses are obligate parasites. एक चीज मिस कर गया, intracellular. So obligate और parasite के बीच में क्या डालना है आपको वहां पे? Intracellular. They are obligatory intracellular parasites. Oh, उसके पहले क्या लिखा? They are inert outside their specific host cell. सालों के नखरे को देखो. Specific, एक तो host चाहिए, ऊपर से specific host चाहिए. हाँ? केक खाना है, लेकिन सिर्फ रेड वेलवेट चाहिए, अपने को और कुछ नहीं चाहिए. Nothing else will do. See, viruses are host specific. Viruses are host, they don't. Can we, just for an example, can we take hormones? Are hormones target specific? Because the target organs will have their particular receptors on the surface. इसलिए वो act करते हैं. हाँ, तो यहाँ पर भी same concept. Heard of an influenza virus? It will attack only the cells of respiratory system. Measles virus? Measles are in children, isn't it? So it will attack only the cells of the skin. Heard of HIV? Human immunodeficiency virus. It attacks what? Immune system, na? Causing which disease? AIDS. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So which system is attacked? Immune. कौन से cells? If you know, T cells, right? Na? T4 lymphocytes. They are the ones who attack. So it is host specific. It is host specific. और एक पूछूं? आप लोग बताएंगे, ठीक है ना? तो tell me, what will be the host cell of a poliovirus? Raise your hand to answer the question. No. Exactly, nervous system. It is because it attacks the nervous system that we lose the motor control. वो जो दिखता है वो सिर्फ इफेक्ट है उसका, लेकिन उसका होस्ट अफेक्शन किधर है?